This is Larry Jordan, the host of the Digital Production Buzz. The following interview is an excerpt from a recent program. To hear the entire program, visit digitalproductionbuzz.com. Christina Horgan began her career in graphic design. Then she transitioned into sound design and sound editing. Since then, she's won Best Sound Design at the 2015 Fantastic Horror Film Festival, as well as becoming a member of the Motion Picture Sound Editors Guild. Hello, Christina, welcome.
Hi, Larry. Thank you for having me.
You know, I've been looking forward to this conversation all week. I'm really glad that you're here because I'm puzzled. You started off as a graphics designer.
Yes.
And then you transitioned into sound design, and I can't think of a single piece of connection between graphics design and sound design. Why did you make
a piece of it?
Why did you make?
Do you know who developed the Laughs You Plug website?
No way.
She did. She designed it. There's your graphic design.
So she
then she was interested in editing. She at that time, so she got involved in the user group on day one. She did the Laughs You Plug design, which is the same.
She may not really want you to
15 years
mention
later,
that.
I know.
Not because I wanted it to stay
No,
the
it's
same.
all my fault. It's all my fault. It's the same, but she did it. She did it because she was interested in editing and film and everything else. She took that graphic design background, which she's brilliant at, and now she's in sound. So,
But graphic design is visually based, and audio is orally based, and generally the two of them don't go hand in hand. What attracted you to it?
Well, I have to disagree. In my head, in my world, I can play a movie in my mind, whether it's visual, it's got to have sound with it as well. So I create from the same place. And it depends on what you're going for. If you're going to create anything visually, you still have to come up with your concept and your ideas and so forth. And it's really the same with the sound. However, you have already a visual palette to work from.
So you see pictures in your head when you're designing sound?
Yes, don't let that get out too much. So, no.
she really is a sane woman. I know her well.
But yeah, and colors. To me, sound has colors. It's got, it's all of that. And I just transitioned from one plane to the other, and I can go back again.
Well, you've done both sound editing and sound design. Which do you prefer?
Sound design.
How come?
It's creative, and I am a creative person, and I'm an artist as well, and so it appeals to me. However, there's a real satisfaction in cutting and editing. I do enjoy it. It's very relaxing, good therapy.
Yeah.
And it just depends.
You always, we talk to editors, especially some of the legendary editors. They've all come from sound. They all started in sound and moved to picture. Why is that?
Well,
I mean, Walter Murch, Dede Allen, all these brilliant editors started in sound.
Well, I'm backwards. I started from picture and I transitioned over to sound, and I don't think I'm going back, really. I love sound.
I don't know if it's back. I mean, it seems to be.
I've always been kind of a nut for audio anyhow. I didn't even know it when I was a kid, and always messing around with my own thing, my own mixes. Remember the old little tapes, cassette tapes,
sure.
And we would record. And I had my amplifier and all my equalizers, and I'm always trying to do my own thing. And absolutely loved it. Had no idea that there was a deeper thing going on there, really, because I am artistic as well. So it was just easier to apply visual. But it took an economical crash for me to finally realize, or get to realize, I don't come from a family that has anyone in the industry. So right off the bat, it's difficult to get into. second of all, of the female, I graduated from high school a
while
long
ago.
time ago, and it was even tougher to get into unless you had family already, in the industry.
So where did you
basically.
study? Where did you learn your craft?
I learned at Video Symphony, and absolutely fantastic program. I took the Pro Tools program, and all of the instructors there were top veterans: Vicki Sampson, Solange Schwalbe,
Larry Jordan.
Larry Jordan. Yes, but every aspect of audio. We went through an entire audio engineering program. So each aspect of post came later, and every element we learned how to, from all of the experts, how to cut properly, all the way to mixing. And it gave you a taste of everything. You could find your way. What you really thought you wanted to do when you came there might not be what you ending up wanting to do, actually.
Well, not only did you take the class, but you actually listened to what the instructors were telling about, because you won the award for Best Sound Design for cuts. Tell me what this is about.
That was so cool.
Well,
Because you had just been at my meeting showing off cut and showing off her work, and then the next day she's holding up a trophy from San Diego.
That's true.
I know, it really
We
was. It
were
was the
at
next
that
day or next 2 days.
A couple of days
Yeah.
later. And honestly, I was really surprised. I was already just really excited to be nominated. That alone was beyond any expectation. And the entries were really, all of them were great. And
Well, that's a hell of a film fest.
it was fantastic. It really
exactly.
was. But the cut sound design is a very fun story. I was able to collaborate with the director, David Roundtree, on his ideal, what his vision was, and he allowed me to really pick his brain. And that's something that is not normal. You don't usually get to do, have any kind of collaboration on that level, with most film directors, or even beyond your supervising sound editor. And Solange Schwalbe and Vicki Sampson were co-supervisors on the movie. And anyway, he had a specific feel for what he wanted. He wanted a lot of metal in his sound design. And I guess you could go to a library and that's not real sound design. Sound design
we
is
had that
creating.
talk. We had the talk earlier. So why don't you just go to a library and just pick them out?
Well, you do that.
Especially when you have no budget.
Well, you would do that for hard effects if you're cutting sound effects. But if you're creating sound design, which is a completely different animal, you want it to be original and unique. There might be some things you could pull from a library and elaborate on them and modify them and tweak them and so forth. But true sound design is taking a concept and creating something that has not been created yet for that movie. And that is what sound design is. It's sounds that are not real to the world, especially horror films. That's a great example. It's the sounds that drive the emotion and make the hairs stand up on your arms and the back of your neck, and the suspense and keep your attention. So many of those horror movies are just the scripts are like.
It's all in the audio.
So you have to be able to drive the story home with the sound design.
Do you record your own audio?
I do. If I have the use of a studio, that's wonderful, but normally you don't. And on this case, I didn't.
She's got
recorded
wonderful stories about creating the sound design for cut.
I don't have
it's
time to tell it
I know,
all.
but we only have about 2.5 minutes, but you should bring her back just to tell that story. It's just great, great stories. When you have
All
no
right,
money.
Tell me a story. What was it like?
Quickly.
Quickly, it was done in my kitchen. And just briefly, I didn't have any mics. There's no budget on this movie, first of all. And I didn't have any mics that worthy of something you would create. I was hoping to be able to borrow one from, the school, and you're not supposed to do that, take it off premises. My kitchen was a disaster zone for 3 weeks, off limits, and everything was created and recorded in my kitchen directly into Pro Tools on my laptop, plugged in on the counter, and I ransacked a dumpster, and I'm not a dumpster diver, but I found a karaoke machine that had a little $10 mic that came with it that was still plugged into it. And it was just a little cheapy cardioid mic, and I thought, I wonder if this thing works. And found out it worked, and I used that. I hung a guy wire across my kitchen and looped this thing over and just slid it back and forth over whatever it was I needed to record and so I could have use of all my hands. It was awful.
Are we talking about a lot of sound effects in the movie, or all the sound effects in the movie?
All of it.
All of it done in your kitchen with a $10 mic.
Yeah, and it was half the sound design was already done with that mic because it was so chintzy and so bad that I was just going to take it into Pro Tools and tweak it and modify it and process it and do all this stuff to get all these scary sounds anyway.
And you did process the sounds.
Oh, yes.
So you could still do it.
Otherwise, it would just sound like a bunch of pots and pans and scrape.
Oh, okay. Right.
I won't give all of it away, but
You said it took you 3 weeks to record. At least your kitchen was trashed for 3 weeks. How long did it take you to design the audio itself?
Well, we had a lot of time on the film. We had probably a total of about 6 months that we worked on it. That wasn't the original schedule.
6 months in post?
Yeah,
Wow.
It got pushed. There's no budget, so it was easy. We were all invested in this movie. We loved this movie.
And David's such a nice guy. You want to do anything for him. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's a great director, and because of our dedication to an investment in David Roundtree, we're his post team for. I hope he makes a lot of movies.
Yeah. Well, he will. I mean, people like him, and he's talented, so he will.
He is talented. But, we had a lot of time. It was normally just supposed to be 2 months, and I would have still been finished, but because I had so much extra time, allowed me to go back and do more and more. So there's layers and layers and layers of sound design in.
Are you proud of your work, or could you go over it again and again and again and still do better?
No, I love it.
Okay.
I won't touch it now. It's done.
Good for you.
This one's done.
Good for you.
But that is another thing about post. There's not enough time to do things. Everything is just, these days, it's just got to be like done in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
And we're so used to that.
No chance for it to breathe.
Right.
No chance for you to breathe.
And it really does make a difference. Your award-winning movies are the ones that really do either have the budget to employ a lot of editors and a lot of crew, or they have the budget to allow for the length of time to work on it.
So what would you like to be doing in the future? What's the next couple projects you're hoping to get?
Redesign the Last Buck website? Only
now
kidding.
He brings that up. I'm not doing that anymore. Anything to do with editing. I love post-editing, and I love sound design. I have to say, I am not a big horror movie fan. If I'm going to go rent a movie, it's usually not going to be that. But to work on them is an entirely different thing. I absolutely love it. I could just create sound design for horror movies all day long. Blood and guts and all that stuff.
Blood and guts. Just don't watch them.
We don't get the reels in chronological order.
And you get to design it in your own. Christina, thank you so very much for joining us today. We will bring you back to hear more horror stories
Thank you,
of
Larry.
horror films.
Horror stories
in the
of
future.
horror films.
Take care. Thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
If you'd like to see more videos like this one, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. To stay connected and receive updates from The Buzz, sign up for our free weekly newsletter now. Or you can learn more about us on our website. And thanks for watching The Digital Production Buzz.